Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Chicago Med paves the way for Hannah and Dean to be finally together, and I couldn't be more thrilled. I'm ecstatic that Chicago Med Season 10, Episode 14, titled Acid Test, has cleared a path for Hannah, Jesse Schramm, and Dean, Steven Weber, to finally be together. Dean and Hannah are both late arrivals to the Chicago Med cast of characters. He debuted in the middle of Season 6, and Hannah returned to work after completing rehab at the end of that season. They were initially adversaries, but have grown closer over the past few years, and are now friends who support one another through difficult times. Acid Test features a mostly comical subplot in which Dean gets high on acid after a patient shares it with him. While this ridiculous arc is mostly a waste of one of Steven Weber's best characters, I appreciated that it allowed him to drop his guard enough to tell Hannah how he feels about her. Additionally, Hannah finally breaks things off permanently with Luke Mitchell, leaving her free to get together with Dean in the future if she wants. Hannah and Mitch have been on the outs since Mitch returned to drinking. In Acid Test, Hannah finds Dean resting in the locker room when she goes to change at the end of her shift. Despite his intoxicated state, Dean can tell that she is upset about Mitch. He tells her, "You walk around without realizing you have this light all around you. You're hopeful and open and kind, and you deserve more. You just don't see it. I do." Although Dean doesn't directly tell Hannah he loves her, these words prove it. It's clear he admires her, and his disinhibited state allows him to admit that her willingness to be positive in the face of trauma balances out his cynicism. Hannah hides how touched she is by his comments, instead taking him back to a treatment room so that the staff can keep an eye on him until he comes down from his acid high. However, it's likely that her later decision to break up with Mitch permanently is influenced by Dean's opinion of her. Hannah doesn't immediately do anything about Mitch. However, later, when Mitch tells her he still loves her and wants to try again to be a couple, Hannah replies, "I love you too, but it's not enough." I was thrilled to hear Hannah say this because it encapsulates their relationship perfectly. Hannah outgrew Mitch a long time ago, but kept trying to make the relationship work. However, Mitch was more interested in his old life than in being a sober, mature person in a relationship with someone who was also in recovery, so the pairing was doomed to fail. It's hard to tell how much of Hannah's decision came from Dean's comments about her. She was likely already leaning toward ending the relationship with Mitch. However, I'm not sure if Hannah ever felt as strongly about Mitch as he did about her. Chicago Med's Hannah and Mitch were mismatched from the beginning, and it's possible she was only trying to make it work because she didn't see any better relationship possibilities in her future. Now Chicago Med needs a new romantic couple. There has not been any real romance in the medical drama since Will Halstead, Nick Gelfus, left at the end of Season 8. The series toyed with the idea of Hannah and Will, but it never quite worked, and when he left, there was nobody decent to replace him in Hannah's life. Hannah and Mitch were not a strong couple, and Scene Archer's Luigi Satal, feelings for Hannah went nowhere. Meanwhile, there was no romance on the horizon for any other character, especially after Maggie, Marlene Barrett, divorced Ben, Charles Malik Whitfield. Hannah and Dean could reverse this disappointing Chicago Med trend. Solid friendships are always a strong foundation for romance, particularly if the characters begin their relationship as enemies. Additionally, Dean and Hannah balance each other out well. Dean's personality includes equal parts cynicism and rebelliousness, while Hannah is younger, more idealistic, and less willing to break the rules. These differences make for a compelling relationship, especially since both characters are unafraid to call each other out when needed. So this is the couple that the medical drama should move forward with. For years, Chicago Med has kept viewers on their toes with gripping medical cases, unexpected twists, and complex character relationships. But few storylines have captured fans' hearts quite like the slow-burning, deeply emotional connection between Dr. Hannah Asher and Dr. Dean Archer. Now, as the show takes bold new steps in their journey, it finally seems like the moment we've all been waiting for is on the horizon. Chicago Med is paving the way for Hannah and Dean to be together at last, and I couldn't be more thrilled. From the moment Hannah returned to Gaffney Chicago Medical Center, it was clear that she and Dean had a unique bond. Both haunted by their pasts and driven by their dedication to medicine, they found solace in one another, even when they weren't willing to admit it. Their relationship was complicated, built on mutual respect, an unspoken understanding of each other's struggles, and a chemistry that was impossible to ignore. Though they've faced numerous obstacles, their connection has always lingered beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to come to light. Dean Archer, the gruff but undeniably talented surgeon, has spent much of his time on Chicago Med keeping people at arm's length. A hardened military veteran, he has long struggled with vulnerability, burying his emotions under layers of sarcasm and a no-nonsense attitude. But Hannah has been different from the start. Her journey from addiction to redemption has given her a perspective that Dean respects, and despite his gruff exterior, he has often gone out of his way to protect and support her. Hannah, for her part, has grown into one of the show's most inspiring characters. Her struggles with addiction were raw and real, but her determination to rebuild her life and prove herself as a skilled OB/GYN has made her journey incredibly compelling. Though she's faced judgment and setbacks, she has continually pushed forward, and through it all, Dean has been quietly watching, admiring her strength, even if he won't always admit it outright. The show has masterfully built their relationship with a slow and steady burn, dropping subtle moments that hint at a deeper connection. From meaningful glances across the hospital floor to the way Dean's usually guarded demeanor softens when Hannah is around, the chemistry between them has been undeniable. But now, as Chicago Med takes significant steps in their arcs, it's becoming clear that their long-awaited moment is finally arriving. One of the most pivotal moments in their journey came when Dean's health issues became a major storyline. Diagnosed with kidney disease, he found himself in a vulnerable position, one that forced him to rely on others, something he's always struggled with, and who was there for him when he needed support the most. Hannah. She offered him comfort, understanding, and a gentle push to accept help. Their interactions during this time weren't just about medical care, they were about trust, about opening up in ways neither of them had done before. Chicago Med's recent episodes have only amplified their growing connection. The way Hannah refuses to back down when Dean tries to push her away, the quiet moments they share in the hospital halls, and the concern they show for each other's well-being all indicate that something deeper is brewing. The writers are laying the groundwork for what could be one of the most satisfying relationships the show has ever developed. Of course, it wouldn't be Chicago Med without complications. Dean, ever the stubborn surgeon, may struggle to fully embrace the idea of happiness with someone like Hannah. He's spent so long believing that vulnerability is a weakness that allowing himself to care for someone, truly care, will be a challenge. And Hannah, still navigating her own journey, may have moments of doubt about whether she's ready for something as significant as a relationship with Dean. But if there's one thing we know about Chicago Med, it's that the show loves to explore the messy, complicated, and deeply human aspects of relationships. Dean and Hannah aren't perfect, and that's exactly why they work. Their relationship isn't about sweeping romantic gestures, it's about the quiet, unspoken moments of understanding, the unwavering support in times of crisis, and the undeniable pull they feel toward one another. With each episode, it becomes increasingly clear that Chicago Med is pushing these two characters toward something bigger. Whether it's a moment of realization in the middle of a chaotic ER shift, a conversation that finally lays their feelings bare, or a crisis that forces them to acknowledge what they truly mean to each other, the pieces are falling into place. The anticipation is building, and fans like myself are eagerly waiting for the moment they finally take that next step.